Hi, I'm Stu from HiveMind Automation and welcome to the Hive. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at this Arlec Grid Connect Smart Surge Protected Plug-in Twin Socket with energy monitoring. We'll take a look around the box, we'll get it out of the box, and we'll take a look at the native app integration. Then we'll get it into Home Assistant, and with this one, we'll be doing that two ways. So while I roll the intro, why don't you take a moment to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you also get notified when I release new videos, and that's normally every week. While you're at it, if you like what I do here and you want to support the channel, there's affiliate links to some of the home automation gadgets I've reviewed in the past and other ways to support the channel, like signing up for NordVPN using my affiliate link, or supporting the channel directly through my Buy Me a Coffee link. With all of that out of the way, let's get started. So I went to Bunnings the other day for one thing, and of course, I ended up picking up more than just the one thing that I went for. And while I was there, I also picked up this Grid Connect Smart Twin Socket with energy meter, and it cost me $32.13. We can see over on the website that it is a 2-socket double adapter, essentially, with a single button there, and it uses the Arlec Grid Connect app. So for $32.13 for a twin outlet where each of the outlets is individually controllable, I thought it was going to be pretty decent value. And also the energy metering is a pretty good deal as well. Most of the energy meter sockets do cost upwards of around $25. Now, being Grid Connect, we know that it's going to run Tuya firmware. So when we get to integrating it into Home Assistant, we're going to look at using both the standard Tuya cloud integration, and we'll take a look at LocalTuya as well. It is a twin socket and both sockets are individually switchable. What remains to be seen is whether the energy metering is individual or combined for both sockets. I think I know what to expect, but I could be wrong and pleasantly surprised. So let's take a look around the box. On the front, we've got Grid Connect Smart Home. We've got that it is a smart surge protected plug-in twin socket with energy meter to protect, control, and track energy use of your connected devices from anywhere using your smartphone. We've got a picture of the unit. We've got a picture of the app. And the app shows us that there are 2 switches on there, if you can see that. We've also got that we can use it with Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa, and there is a model number PC287HA. You could theoretically use that number to look up the Blackadder repository to see whether or not there is a template for this unit used with Tasmotor. On the right-hand side, we've got basic instructions: download, pair, and use. It's Wi-Fi, meaning that we don't need a hub. It's a switch, no hub required, energy meter, countdown timer, and schedule timer. On the other side, it's just some marketing: control anywhere with Grid Connect. Use the Grid Connect app to remotely control your devices. Download for free to your iOS or Android device and use your home Wi-Fi or mobile internet connection to control devices from anywhere. And on the back, we've got some more details. So it says compact design fits side by side in a standard Australian double power point. So you could have 2 of these to then individually control 4 accessories, and that would work quite well, I think. We've also got the technical specs. So we've got the voltage of 230 to 240 volts AC at 50 Hertz, a maximum load current of 10 amps, total load must not exceed 2400 watts. The network is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth low energy, 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Energy absorption, so the surge protection, is 175 joules. System requirements, mobile device running iOS or Android, and refer to the gridconnect.com.au website for minimum device requirements. We need an existing 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network, and the website gridconnect.com.au and that model number again. There's some more regulatory information on the bottom, but we won't need to worry about that. So what we will do now is get it out of the box. So I'll just grab my 3D printed blade holder here, and I'll cut. There's a clear plastic sticky dot on the top edge of the box, and I will open up the top here, and inside we've got the standard Arlec Grid Connect starter guide and the unit itself in this cardboard holder here. So looking at the unit itself, build quality feels okay. It feels like it's probably a polycarbonate shell, similar to the other Arlec Grid Connect switches that we've seen. The switch button feels pretty decent. The socket spacing is pretty decent. You could definitely plug in 2 devices. If you were switching a wall wart unit on and off, you'd probably want to use the bottom one rather than the top to make sure that you don't block the bottom port there. There's LED lights next to each socket to indicate the power state. It says on the front here, let's go over to the B camera. We've got that it's surge protected, Arlec Grid Connect, do not exceed total loading of 10 amps at 2400 watts. So 240 volts at 10 amps. On the back, we've got the model number, surge protected, smart socket, 230 to 240 volts, AC, 50 hertz, max loading, 10 amps, 2400 watts. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth low energy, 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi for indoor use only, and some regulatory stuff. It's worth noting that there's a pretty decent standoff from the wall socket here to space it out from a wall socket so that you've still got access to the switch if the switch is behind the unit here. So that is quite nice to see. So there's not really a whole lot to talk about because it's a switch, it's a smart switch. It just does basic smart switch things. The main difference being that there are 2 switch ports on here. So what I'm going to do is plug it in, and we will get the Tuya Smart app up and running, and we'll see how it looks in Tuya Smart. So I'll plug that in over here. I've got my standard light bulbs here that I normally use for testing, and I'll plug one of those into each port so that we can then test these switches and the load and the energy metering as well. So over on our phone, I'm going to open up Tuya Smart, and I'm going to tap the plus button in the top right hand corner, and we'll tap add device, and I'll tap socket Wi-Fi. We're on the Force, and we've got our password there because we've used this before. And I'm going to tap next. Now it says power on the device after it's been powered off for 10 seconds. We've just taken it out of the box, so we shouldn't need to do that. We'll tap next. It says press and hold the reset button for 5 seconds. So I'm going to press and hold the power button, and that's been more than 5 seconds. We'll tap next. Not sure if you can see that underneath the power button, there's a red LED flashing. So I'll tap next. We'll confirm that the indicator is blinking quickly, and it's already found the device. So PC287HA, which was the model number we saw on the box, I will tap plus next to that, and it's being added. So this is one of the benefits of the new RTL chips. They're a lot quicker to get into discovery because they use Bluetooth low energy. It's added successfully. I can change the name. I'm just going to call this Twin Socket, and we won't worry about putting it in a room. We'll tap done, and we'll tap done. And I've just heard the Amazon Echo in the other room announce that it had found a new device. So that tells me that it's already been found in Home Assistant. So now that we've got the Twin Socket connected, we've got the Arlec Grid Connect interface in Tuya Smart, and we can go switch 1, we can turn on, and it's taking a moment. That should have turned on already. That took a long time. That's a lot of latency. So I'm a bit concerned about that. It might just be that it's waking up, but Again, we see a problem with cloud connected services. It's also turned on the top one, so switch 1 is the top port, and I'm guessing then that switch 2 is the bottom port, which it is. So we can turn those off. A lot quicker on the turn off there, and even the second switch, I think it was just waking up, so that's good news. To the right of each switch, we've got either a schedule or a countdown timer, so we can do a countdown timer of 1 minute. We'll save that, and that's going to then turn on in a minute. And we can see current usage, so we've got voltage, current in amps, and the power. And also today's total kilowatt hours, and there's a history there to show us the monthly or yearly consumption in kilowatt hours. So as I suspected, the energy metering here is for both ports, not a single port. So I'm a little bit disappointed with that, but it is kind of what I expected, especially at $32. If we take a look at the settings, we should be able to see here, we've got the relay status, and we can see remember last status, and our minute timer just expired and turned on port 1, so that's nice. So we can see remember last status is either off or on, or remember last. We've also got switch log here as well, to see the switch log and the times that things were turned on and off. So that's interesting there. I'll just turn switch 1 off again. In the top right, if we tap the 3-dot stack, we've got the standard things that we would normally have available to us in the Tuya Smart app. So we can change the name. We've got the device information, tap to run automations, third-party control, offline notifications, sharing, creating groups, FAQs, feedback, adding to the home screen, checking the device network, and checking for device updates. What I will do is I'll go into device information, and I'm going to copy this virtual ID and then back out, and I'm going to head over to my computer here, and I'm going to add that into my LocalTuya script. So over in my LocalTuya keys script folder, I'm going to find the device ID field in the input CSV file. I'm going to paste the device ID that I just copied from the device information, the BF98 device ID. I'm going to save that because when we come and run the LocalTuya script a little bit later on, that's going to be kind of important to have. There's not really a whole lot to talk about here in the app itself. It is just a switch. The main difference being that there are 2 different ports. You can name each individual switch here, so you could call switch 1 left light, and we could save that. So right light, left light, and there's a switch all in the top left here as well, which I forgot to mention. But that's pretty much everything that there is to see inside the app itself. So let's head over to Home Assistant and see how it looks over there. Because of some complications with the native Tuya Cloud app, I'm in my production instance of Home Assistant here, and I'm going to go to Settings, Devices and Services, and I'm going to find my Tuya Cloud integration here. I'm going to click on the 3-dot stack and click Reload. Now, we may not have needed to do that because we may not see this number 26 devices and 80 entities change. But when it's finished reloading, we'll see if that changes. We'll tap OK. It's actually changed to 25 devices and 80 entities, so that's interesting. It's gone down. We'll click on the 25 devices here, and I'm going to find Twin Socket in here, and I'll click on Twin Socket. And we see here that we have the Socket 1 and Socket 2 and 3 entities not shown. I'm going to click the plus next to 3 entities not shown, and I'm going to open up the advanced settings on each of those and enable those settings, because these are our energy monitoring sensors, and I'm kind of annoyed that these are not enabled by default with the Tuya Cloud integration. It's okay, we can enable them, but I'm annoyed that they're not enabled by default. So we've got socket 1 and socket 2 in here. I'm going to turn on socket 1, which should be the left light, and it is. I'll turn on socket 2, and we've got that on there as well. Turn those off. It's worth noting that because we're using the Tuya cloud integration here, as always, we've got that standard half a second delay. Now, for whatever reason, it's become unavailable, and I don't know why that's happened. It's come back again. I think I know why it became unavailable. It was because it was reloading these sensors here. So we can see we've got current, power, and voltage. If I turn on both sockets and go to current, we should be able to actually see the current increase. And I might need to defer back to the app. It's still not showing much in the way of power or current there. So it took a moment there to update. It took about a minute. We've got 0.124 amps, so 124 milliamps and 20.6 watts of power being drawn. We can see that reflected over here in Home Assistant as well. I'll turn those off. What I want to do now, that integration was pretty simple. It was already done. What I want to do now, though, is do the LocalTuya integration, and I'm going to do that in my demo instance of Home Assistant. And I've already got a couple of items connected with LocalTuya. So inside the LocalTuya keys folder here, I'm going to type in /tuyakeys.py. And I'm going to run that. You'll remember before that we saved a CSV file with the device ID of this twin socket before. So what I'm going to do is open up my LocalTuya keys. I'm going to search this by date modified. So what we've got here is our localtuya.csv, and we've also got pinouts. And after pinouts, we've got the device ID. So I'm just going to open that pinouts up into Visual Studio Code, and I'm also going to open up in a separate window the localtuya.csv because I need that to get the local key. Okay, so I have my pinouts JSON file here. I've copied my local key. I'm going to head back over to Home Assistant, and I'm going to click on LocalTuya Configure and Add New Device. And what I'm looking for here, BF98 in here. So BF98 ending with 0 CSR, that is the one that I want on 192.168.1.71. I'm going to submit that. I'm going to call this twin socket. I'm going to paste my local key in here. We've already got our device ID and our host name. I'll click submit on there. And our entity type selection is switch. I'll tap submit again, and we'll go friendly name. We've got twin socket top, and we now can select our pins. So if we head back to our JSON file here, I'll just collapse the functions. What I want to look at is the status fields here. So we've got switch 1 is on pin 1, switch 2 is on pin 2, current on pin 18, power on pin 19, and voltage on pin 20. So we've got milliamps, watts, and volts. So I'll head back over here. So for current, I'll go, we had that on 18. Voltage, we had that on pin 20. So I'll select pin 20. And for power, we had pin 19. And we can tap submit on that. Now I'll uncheck this box to be do not add any more entities. We'll click submit, and we've got pin 2 now. So that's the second socket, and we'll go twin socket bottom. And I'll just put 18, 19, and 20 in here again. So we've got pin 18, 19, and 20 in there again, and we'll hit submit. This time I'll leave that checked, do not add any more entities, and we'll click submit, and successfully saved. We'll click finish, and we've now got 4 devices in LocalTuya. I'll open that up, and we've got twin socket, and we've got bottom and top. So we can go bottom, top, and we'll turn those off. And we don't have any of the latency that we had before. And if we drill into each of these and look at the switch controls and in attributes, we'll see the current consumption and voltage. It's worth mentioning though that because this is combined, both of these values, regardless of which switch is on, are going to always be the same because we selected the same pins for both of those sockets. I think I might end up using this to switch my studio lights in here on and off and be able to monitor the energy usage of those. At the moment, I have two separate smart switches to control my studio lights here. So as you can see from using LocalTuya, we remove all of that latency and that makes the experience a lot better. So that's the Arlec Grid Connect Smart Surge Protected Plug-in Twin Socket with Energy Meter. It's the only dual outlet smart plug that I've seen, and the addition of energy metering is nice to be able to gather data on the appliances that are plugged into it. Being that the energy monitoring is combined is a little bit disappointing, but again, for $32, I can't expect too much. As always, the straight to your cloud integration introduces a fair amount of latency, but that was resolved really simply with LocalTuya. With the enhancements I recently made to my LocalTuya key extractor script that now pulls the pinout data using the API, it solved the problem of guessing which pins to assign during the setup as well. I honestly think that for the price, this is a pretty decent unit. In my case, I'll be using it to switch my studio lights on and off and also monitor the energy that they consume. Your use case might be different. You could maybe use this for a couple of different lamps around the house, or maybe you might want to use this to power on a TV and a set-top box of some kind, and also monitor the power consumption of those devices. It's a bit of a choose your own adventure. It is a smart plug, so it will switch pretty much any load up to 2400 watts. It was mentioned to me a while ago by a friend of mine that he was using a smart power board to switch a small space heater, and he's burnt out a couple of sockets on that smart power board because what happens with a lot of those small space heaters, when the load turns on, they actually spike well and truly past the 2.4 kilowatt limit of a lot of these smart switches. It's only for a fraction of a second, but that can be enough to burn out some of the sensitive electronics inside these units or fuse the relays inside these units. They're only small relays, and we'll be actually taking a look at a DIY relay in a future video, and you'll see the size of them and why they could fuse that easily. Let me know what you think of this unit in the comments below. That's all we have for this video, and I do hope that it's helped you in your smart home journey. Be sure to comment down below with home automation ideas that you'd like to see covered in future videos, and don't forget to follow HiveMind Automation on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you liked this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button down below to give it a like. And if you're not already subscribed, now is a perfect opportunity to change that. While you're at it, if you hit the bell icon, you'll also receive a notification when I release new videos, and that's normally every week. If you're looking to support the channel and you're also in the market for a VPN provider, there is an affiliate link in the description for NordVPN. I chose to partner with NordVPN because they've got the best infrastructure of any of the VPN providers I looked into. They have a strict no logs policy and servers all over the globe. On top of that, they've got apps for just about every platform, including Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, and Android. So no matter what platform you're using, you can protect your sensitive personal information while you browse the web, even on unsecured Wi-Fi. So get a VPN today and use my link below to sign up for NordVPN. Lastly, if you like what I'm doing here and you want to support the channel, there is a Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description down below as well. Contributions that you make through Buy Me a Coffee are put towards making more and better content for you to enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Stu from HiveMind Automation, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.